Hello everybody, my name is Randy and welcome to the Late Night Grind. Today I'm going to be talking about some new stimulus check updates. The most recent news having us getting two rounds of stimulus checks. That information coming up. So there's a lot of information in the news. More information came out on Tuesday from the Solver Caucus talking about a new basically plan or a new bill that they just put together that they're going to try and gather support for from the White House first, then Republicans, then hopefully get a vote from the House and the Senate from. That's coming up. But before I get into it, I would actually like to ask you guys to subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and click that red subscribe button below. This is a brand new channel. Just started it a little while ago, and I'd appreciate the support. And don't forget to click that bell notification icon so that you get notified when I drop a new video. Because right now, it's about stimulus checks, and yeah, that's what we're all interested in. So let's get into it. All right, so on Tuesday, the Problem Solvers Caucus, they put out their plan, which is basically their way of trying to get Republicans and Democrats on the same page, as well as the White House. So far, I looked at the plan. It's got a lot of great things in it. A lot of it looked like compromises on both sides, and it looks, on paper at least, like a really good plan. It includes things like mortgage forbearance through January of 2021, extending unemployment benefits through the end of the year, which include additional $450 per week unemployment benefits for about 8 weeks, and then up to $600 extra, which is good news. That's what actually Democrats were pushing for as well. But they actually put a cap on it so that you can't necessarily earn more from the unemployment benefits than you were collecting at your job previously, which is what Republicans wanted. It's one of those things that it's a compromise, and it looks like both sides could get on board with something like that. And of course, the reason why everybody watches these stimulus update videos is because of the $1,200 stimulus checks, which are of course included. Also, it mentioned $500 per dependent, similar to what the original stimulus plan was for back in the spring. But here's the thing. They actually included a possible second round of stimulus, it's $1,200 stimulus checks, that could be for the spring of 2021. And I'll get into that more in a little bit. But basically, some of the one real sticking point that Democrats and Republicans have not been able to agree upon through all the negotiating, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, negotiating with Steve Mnuchin, and specifically Nancy Pelosi has said that they don't want to go below $2 trillion on any stimulus plan. Republicans, meanwhile, don't really want to go much above $1 trillion. Even though this Problem Solvers Caucus plan is about 1.3 to 1.5 trillion, there still seems to be a fair amount of Republicans on board with that, including Donald Trump. But the one sticking point was all the money that would be included for state and local government. Republicans have not been on board with it typically because it's seen as a blue state bailout. So they were afraid of basically just the government issuing a blank check that would be issued to states that are not doing well, which most of them are Democrat run. So what did the Problem Solvers Caucus do? Well, they said, okay, how about this? The money for state and local governments will be specifically tied to losses incurred from the coronavirus. So the Republicans heard this. A lot of them have thought on that idea and could support more money for state and local governments as long as it's tied to something like that and not just a blank check overall. Both Democrats and Republicans seem to be making a little bit more progress in terms of at least what they're telling people during the press conferences. Nancy Pelosi actually said that she wants to get a bill on the floor, which is a good thing. But again, there's still several reports out there saying, well, there probably aren't enough Republicans on board with a bill that's over $1 trillion, and there aren't enough Democrats on board with a bill that's less than $2 trillion. But we'll see. Basically, the Problem Solvers Caucus plan have seen this, they've seen both sides, they've seen the argument, and they're not going to treat this like a typical bill. They're actually going to go ahead and they've laid out their plan, or at least it's a draft. It's not even a formal bill. It's basically them saying, okay, here's what you guys want, here's what you guys want, how about this, something in the middle? It seems to me like, we can do this in high school. Why can't the United States government do that? So, having said that, after it seems like both sides can agree upon some of the sticking points that they've had earlier, or basically all year since the first round of stimulus, their next goal is actually going to be going to the president and getting him on board. Once they can do that, which it seems like it should be pretty easy because he's been saying for the last couple of months that he supports a stimulus plan with a little more money in it, even up to 1.5 trillion, which That's actually what the Problem Solvers Caucus bill outlined, approximately $1.5 trillion. And then once they feel they can get Donald Trump on board, that should be enough to kind of rally Republicans around it and get enough support for that. Basically, then what they'll do is take it to the House to vote on. If it passes the House of Representatives, then they'll take it to the Senate to vote on from there. And things could move quickly. So what's going to happen is before this formally gets voted on, they're actually going to have to put this into more of a formalized bill. And from reports I've seen, it looks like they're going to include, or probably, it looks like they're probably going to include a few more things, a few more details that weren't necessarily outlined with what they put out there Tuesday. Possibly inclusion could be things for like airline bailouts. They've actually threatened furlough or laying off of employees by the thousands coming in October if they don't get some sort of money. So we could see something like that, as well as the SALT tax removal, which is a state and local tax for homeowners, which they get a little bit of a tax break on that. So you might see something like that included as well. And like I said, Donald Trump's already been on board with a plan that has some bigger numbers in it. So could even be 1.5 trillion, maybe it could even be a little bit more, because here's why. The Problem Solvers Caucus plan outlined a plan for a possible second round of stimulus in March of 2021. But here's the thing. It would be tied directly to how the economy is doing and probably how the coronavirus is doing in spring of next year, or possibly just in the winter of next year. They didn't put any numbers necessarily to it in terms of what it's tied to. I would actually love to see the numbers that it's tied to. Is it tied to things like unemployment? Is it tied to things like number of bankruptcies being filed, number of foreclosures being filed, things like that? I'm trying to look up that information right now. I don't even know if they have that. So that's what it could be tied to, depending on how things are going. So could be something to look forward to. Definitely something to pay attention to for sure. So there's going to be more information coming on this, because from what I've read, if they can get Donald Trump on board and start rallying Republicans to support this Problem Solvers Caucus bill, probably looking at just a couple of weeks before they would actually vote on something. Possibly get stimulus checks out, I don't know, sometime in October, maybe before Election Day if Donald Trump would get his way. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching this update video. Again, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to this channel and support new channels on YouTube like this one. I look forward to making more videos, especially about the stimulus update, because even though this is going to be about entrepreneurship, side hustles, finance, things like that, stimulus checks are a big issue to everybody in the United States right now. So I definitely want to stay up to date on that. And of course, I'll try to bring that to you. I'd also appreciate if you click the thumbs up button on this video. Lets YouTube know that you enjoyed this video. Because hey, chasing stimulus check money, that counts as a side hustle. All right, good night, guys.